previous day. First, we are called the migrants. We have Nepolen Haukip from Siamla College. And I am Dr. Chinkhanlun Guite. I teach in St. Stephen's College, and I'm the spokesperson of Manipur Tribal Forum. So now I would like to call upon Dr. Marcy from JNU to please brief us a little bit on historical perspective.
Thank you, Dr. Loon, for that hard-hitting introduction. And I'd like to address, before I come on to the historical aspects of what actually is happening in our country today, I'd like to thank the media partners here for coming and, accepting the voice of the minority. The voice of the minority cannot be suppressed anymore. It is clear enough. We cannot be subjugated anymore. And before coming to the historical, this happened and that happened, we are a part of India. I would like to ask the predominant culture, the majoritarian culture, the Meiteis here, what did you want that you have actually performed a large-scale ethnic violence and an ethnic program against the tribals of Manipur? What do you want? This will be my question to the majoritarian Meitei society. And with that, I would like to come to the historical aspects, which my colleague here, Dr. Loon, had actually stated briefly. The rumors about illegal immigrants hurts us because I am a part of India. I am an Indian citizen. All my colleagues sitting here are passport holders of the Indian state and the Indian constitution. None of us sitting here or here in the audience, my respective colleagues here, are illegal immigrants. None of us are illegal immigrants here. And with that, this whole idea of illegal immigrants came because the Manipur tribal people have a part, extended areas in the Chittagong Hills, a part of Assam, a part of Mizoram. See, that should not confuse us. The boundary that we are talking about is in the state of Manipur today. There is no infiltration from across the border. And the tribals have been living here since time immemorial in the hills of Manipur. In the year 1871-72, Raja Gokathang Guite was the leader of the Zo people, the Zo ethnicity. See, after what happened is that the hill areas and the valley areas, they were all merged together. But in 1971, when Manipur state attained statehood, the hill areas, according to the Article 371C, it is suggested that in the provision of HAC, that is the Hill Area Committee, that they will be governed separately. Now, to that I would like to ask the question, is it too difficult for the government of India to actually grant us our demands since time immemorial, that we have been governed separately, we are two very separate entities, historically also, geographically also, and culturally also. And it is not an imaginary divide that some of our Meitei majoritarian scholars would like to say, this is not an imaginary divide. The divide was there since time immemorial, and this is why I would like to say the only thing that is imaginary from the Meitei side is that they think that our demands can be, or is a wishful thinking. It should not be a wishful thinking. It can be concretized if the government of India really wants to listen to the voice of the minority, because it is the time of the subaltern. With that, I would like to end this part of mine, and I would like to call on my colleague Mercy Khaute Guite for all our appeals to the judiciary, and she will talk about the human rights issues. Thank you.
I would like to begin saying that unfortunately, being a woman, it's very, very hurtful to be standing here to actually put across the plight of women in Manipur, which is now ethnically divided for reasons which is now beyond the obvious. And unfortunately, the viral video that we had seen that has really, like the Prime Minister has left the country in deep shame, has been able to do what the voices of the cookies have not been able to do since the 3rd of May. Our cries for help to the government has been unheard. So today I just want to quickly tell you that, the viral video that we saw was not just an isolation on public websites, on all social media. But no action has been taken against the killer of David Thé. This is a picture of another man who has been, killed the very next day after Honorable Home Minister visited Manipur and prayed for 15 days of peace. The very next day when he pleaded for 15 days of peace, this man here, all of 41 years old, his limbs were chopped off and he was burned alive. This is the kind of atrocities that, have been committed. So it is not just a war between two communities. But today, all of us sitting here, we want to raise our voice. And the press, as the fourth arm of democracy, we believe that you will help us in our fight for the rule of law. Had the rule of law been upheld, the situation would have not been so bad as it is today, because we also have, instances where a 62-year-old woman had been shot dead right in front of a school, alleging her to be a suicide bomber. There has been not an iota of proof, but it seems like the state is willing to accept the fact that, she is a suicide bomber because no investigations have been carried out. And unfortunately, a few weeks later, Mrs. Lucy Maring was also shot dead by the militants. But this is a result, this is the copy of an agreement that was entered by the state with the family of Mrs. Lucy. I am not saying that the victim is undeserving, but when a 62-year-old schizophrenic woman belonging to the Kuki community's death is, unheard of, it's not investigated. Within 24 hours of this incident, where, they shot dead another lady belonging to the Naga community, immediate arrest was made. And this is a copy of the agreement that has been entered in, where the Chief Minister, Mr. Biren Singh, was a chair to this. So what I'm trying to point out here is that the partisan attitude of the state is something that is very, very disturbing, and it hits on the root of our democracy, Indian democracy. Now, if I have to tell you the list of all that has happened, it's going to be very, very long, because more than 6,000 FIRs have been registered. And quite rightly so pointed out by the Supreme Court of India, these FIRs that await investigation is something that reflects, the partisan attitude of the state. It reflects a very blatant violation of human rights. It reflects the failure to. So where is the healing touch going to come from? That's a big question. You will also see in the, the written memorandum that we have also circulated, that there have also been casualties, that there has also been death of a 2-year-old boy in one of the relief camps for lack of medicine. And this little boy died of measles, which also means that, the case may have spread. There may have been many more infections. And we know that, the hilly areas in the country, they are bound to receive more monsoons than any other place. But today there is a lack of mosquito nets. There are lack of medicines even for fever. There are no medicines. The hill areas are running short of medicines for diabetes, which is a very, very common illness. So where do we go from here? The nearest airport for us would be Aizawl, because we don't dare to go to Impal, because the moment we step out of our Lamka, we are going to be shot dead. So if you say that this is not an ethnic cleansing, I'm sorry, I think we really need to redefine our understanding of what ethnic cleansing is. Because if you look at the genocidal method of how this crime has been committed, doesn't it remind us of Rwanda and Bosnia? Can we still deny that this is not a case of ethnic cleansing? There are no there's a lack of basic amenities when it comes to food, nutrition. We are a country that we pride ourselves, we say Beti Bachao. What has happened to our daughters, it is more than obvious. Women who are also married into the Meitei communities are also not spared. I can give you, proofs, because it's all available now. No matter how much we try to curb the voice of the people, the more you try to curb, the more loudly is the voice going to resonate. And it has begun now. These schools, the schools have not been functional since the 3rd of May, because all of these schools have been converted into shelter homes. It's not just about students who are in the class 8, class 9, or class 10 who are to appear for the board exams. What about the children who have just started off their school? Because a well beginning is half done. You know, the country, the world has just gotten out of COVID. And this is what we are making our children face again, because the internet has been shut down for so long. Now we are, women becomes the perpetrators themselves. And to wind up my session, I would also want to highlight the fact that, you know, court summons have been issued to us, to the scholars belonging to the Kuki-Zo community. We talk about freedom of speech and expression. All that we did was we just answered questions to an interview that was being put forth to us. We never called for annihilating our community. We never called for committing atrocities of crime. We were just giving pure answers to straightforward questions, and for that we were issued summons. Why are we letting a certain section of our society making a mockery of our law, making a mockery of our judicial system? Because our judicial system, you know, the courts are a temple of justice, and it is impartial and it is unbiased. And I would also want to conclude by applauding the Supreme Court for stepping in and for taking up the case of atrocities against women as a result of this ethnic violence with utmost sincerity and utmost caution, because it reflects their sensitivity. And it is very wrong, and I am so proud of the court that we, you know, under whose jurisdiction we are, because in the voice of the Chief Justice, he makes it very clear that it would be very wrong to equate or to generalize the crime against women in the ethnically divided state of Manipur as any other crime that happens in any other part of the country. Because we need to start calling a spade a spade. There are challenges ahead, many, many challenges ahead. But for the sense of closure to prevail, it is important, and it is not just a demand, but it is an essential requirement, that our appeal, our prayer for an administration where the ethos of the tribals will be regarded, where our participation will be respected, where our interest also will not be, you know, will be taken into account and not sidelined. No matter what you call it, it is our appeal, it is our prayer that give us that opportunity also where we can strive and we can participate in this India that we call Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you.
Health and well-being, education, decent work and economic growth, among other as indices. So you find that all the benefits, all the economic benefits are concentrated in the Meitei-dominated valley districts in Manipur alone. And even in terms of education infrastructure, almost all the universities, medical and technical institutes are located in Imphal Valley alone. There are 8 universities, Central Agriculture Universities, DM University, Manipur University, Manipur University of Culture, Manipur Technical University, National Sports University, Shanghai International University, Manipur International University, and 2 medical institutes, Jawaharlal Nehru Institute of Medical Sciences and Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, and 3 technical institutes, Manipur Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Information Technology, National Institute of Technology. They are all located in Imphal Valley alone. Only recently, 2 institutes, namely Churchandpur Medical College and Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, are established in Hill District. Even in terms of public health facilities, the Hill District did not have even one government-owned super specialty hospital. And there have been lots of concern raised about land crunch in the valley districts of Manipur. However, the population density of the state is among the lowest in the country, and the hills in Manipur are mostly unfit for human habitation. So even though the hills constitute about 90% of the state, the hills are sparsely populated. Certain habitable regions in Hill district of Churchandpur, like Lamka, have a population density of 654 people per square kilometer, which is almost the same as the valley districts like Imphal East, which has a density of 643 square kilometer, or like Bisnupur, which has got a population density of 479 square kilometer. And there has been much propaganda being spread about the non-tribal Meitei population not able to purchase land in the hill districts and the valleys flooded by people of all communities. While it is true that Article 371C provides certain protection to tribal, this protection is not absolute. So you will find Meitei population living in Chuchampur, Kampopi, or Tengnopal district. The controversial Manipur Land and Revenue Act is also illegally applied in certain hill districts of Manipur. The tribals in Manipur have to find some settlement in Imphal Valley, as it is the state capital, and most education and medical institutes are located here. The economic disparity between the tribal and non-tribal Meitei population is likely to be more pronounced in future, particularly for the Kuki, Zomi, and Mal tribals. There are some who argue that the topographic factors are solely responsible for the disparity and absolve the state government of its discrimination against the tribal. However, this is not true. The Niti Aayog findings reveal that Sikkim, which is another hill state, holds the highest ranking among northeastern states, and Mizoram doing better than Manipur. Therefore, the central government has to urgently address the current crisis so that the Kuki, Zomi, Mal tribals are not subjected to further discrimination, violence, or relegated to second-class citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, the media house. I hope today the media will present the truth, and the truth shall prevail it. More than 100 days since the beginning of the crisis in Manipur, the solution which they had promised is still unfulfilled. Why the tribal people need separate administration? You know, since the beginning, with the tribal people, we had a form of a government, like a Greek city-state form of government. We were never a part of the mainland Meitei people. We were separated since inception.